I assume you can all hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. So my name's Heidi Droshak. I am here as a good governance advocate and with Big Money Out Virginia today. We are here for the first ever Democracy Day 2023, advocating on behalf of campaign finance reform and good governance bills. I will have a little more to say in a couple of minutes, but first we have some legislators here, so we want to give them the floor. So I'm going to turn it over to Nancy first, who's going to set the stage for some of these bills, and then we'll hear from the legislators themselves.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I mean, this is a coalition of great partners, Upvote, Fair Vote, looking at ranked choice voting, ethics reform, and campaign finance. We're really excited. We have 13 great bills in the House and the Senate. Last year we had 24 bills and only 2 sort of managed to creep over the finish line. But I'd like to introduce our legislators and start off with Barbara Favola and Dan Helmer, who are introducing a really great bill on disclosure of independent expenditures and dark money. We really think this is time. This is sort of a basic entry point for good governance. So I'm turning it over to them.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you all for joining us. So my bill is Senate Bill 854, and what it does is it requires those that will spend independent expenditures. So organizations or individuals that are spending money completely apart from a campaign or a referendum effort to actually report any kind of communication that's related to the election of a candidate or the passage of a referendum. So it's electioneering communication. And we think it's really important. So often you don't know who's behind the money. You don't know who's really trying to influence the election. So the bill requires that in a general election, they would have to I think it's 60 days, and in a primary 30 days before the election actually takes place. If there's any communication, traditional TV, print, or social media, they have to disclose their top donors, top 3 donors. So it's really, to me, it's a consumer protection kind of bill. It's a voter transparency bill, and I think it helps candidates as well, because so often a candidate doesn't know who's behind the effort to promote or defeat him. And with a referendum question, voters certainly have more information about who would benefit or who would be disadvantaged on a referendum question. So I will just conclude by saying that the Coalition for Integrity actually ranks Virginia 46 out of 51 in terms of transparency and accountability when it comes to campaign reform and campaign disclosures. That's not a good place to be, especially when we know 88% of Virginians across party lines and across the Commonwealth, in urban, rural, and all kinds of pockets, actually believe we should have more sunshine on our campaigns. So with that, I thank you, and I will turn it back. Oh, I will turn it over to my House patron, who has the companion bill is what we say, the companion bill in the House.
Thank you so much, Senator Favola. Very nice to see everybody today. Delegate Dan Helmer. I represent the 40th District, which is Fairfax and Prince William counties. I'm an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran and sworn oath to uphold and defend our Constitution at a time when our democracy is under attack, as we saw on January 6th, and we've seen MAGA Republican extremists trying to undermine our elections. What we need to do is restore faith in our democracy and protect our freedoms. And the way we do that is what you are here to support today, which is by passing the kind of reforms that prevent dark money from entering our politics and influencing our democracy. And the bills that Senator Favola and I have introduced are exactly about that. It's about knowing who is trying to influence our democracy. Senator Favola and I are deeply committed to bringing together members from both sides of the aisle to do it, but it is sad today to look around at this press conference and not see a single Republican here. It shouldn't be about party to want to defend democracy, but increasingly there's a party of democracy and there's a MAGA party of extremism that doesn't care about the outcomes of elections and seeks to influence them in any way we can. These bills are part of a program by all of us up here to shine light in our democracy, to give people the opportunity to have their voices heard, to vote, and to know who is trying to seek to influence our democracy. I appreciate all of you standing here in defense of democracy and working with us to make sure that we protect our freedoms for ourselves, for our children, and for future generations. And with that, I will turn it over to my friend and a patron of another great bill, Delegate Vivian Watts.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
and
much.
if I just may say, Senator Favola's bill passed the Senate yesterday. It was 21 to 0.
Well, it did pass on a party line vote. Last year, I had picked up a couple of Republicans on the floor. This year, I did not. So we clearly have more work to do, and I have to believe that this is truly a bipartisan, should be a bipartisan issue. So all of us have to roll up our sleeves and we have to start working across the aisle.
And just to give you, we testified on our bill, and it was for the first time I've ever seen this. Americans for Prosperity were there against the bill. This is common across in Arizona and Tennessee and Alaska. When they have referendums and they want to get rid of dark money, this is the Americans for Prosperity come and say, we feel that this stifles our speech. And Barbara, I would just like to say, you came back perfectly, and she said, this is about the public interest. So I think, we need to get it through the House. I don't know,
We're gonna fight for it. We're gonna fight for it, and we need everybody here to come and say that this isn't about speech. This is about having speech in no other sense provides you the right to anonymity and to seek to influence our democracy in nefarious ways. And so we have an opportunity to make sure that we push forward bills like this that aren't stifling your speech. What they are doing is requiring you to put your name on the things that you put forward because it's critical to our democracy.
And I mentioned on the floor, why would somebody not be proud if they decided to give money and be one of the top 3 donors to an organization? Why would they not want somebody to know that, right? That's what I said on the floor of the Senate.
Yeah.
Silence.
So thank you, Barbara Favola and Delegate Helmer. Everybody, we're gonna share letters with the members of the subcommittee in the House and also the Senate on other bills, but we thank you for all your support for
Thank you,
democracy.